Hey there, Balanced Lady Bosses. Welcome to another epic of the Balanced Lady Boss Show. And as you would have heard in the bio, I have the amazing and ever so gracious Debra Edwards joining us today for this conversation. Wagwan, Debra, how is everything going?
Medea, and thank you so much for having me.
Excellent. Really excited to have you. And just for clarification, because one of the things that has shifted with this season of the show, which you would be able to appreciate, is we've actually changed to a millennial focused audience. And the reason for that is because I found that while I have lots of women listeners, and I'm not excluding anyone, I did find that the women who were in the millennial category are the ones that would write to me and tell me how them a ball and tell me all the different things. And so I realized that the conversations that we were having, whether it was with another millennial woman or another boomer or whichever generation outside of that, they were the ones who were really grabbing onto the gems that were dropped. So you are, I think, a millennial also?
I am. I just scrape, but I am. Yeah, I'm a
Yes.
millennial.
Okay, excellent. Which I think is really wonderful because a lot of the women who listen to the show are on the up and come, whether it is that they're in corporate or they're entrepreneurs. And so I'm really looking forward to having this discussion today because you have straddled both sides of that fence.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited to hear just how your journey has, impacted your life and your choices in the space of our three pillars, which are boardroom, bedroom, and bliss. So are you ready for this conversation?
I am ready.
Okay, excellent. So in the space of boardroom, of course, this is all about the career success journey. And I wanted to start off with discussing your most recent career shift, but we're going to actually take a story route, right? So I would love for you to kind of give us a little bit of background on who Debra wanted to be when she was a little girl and whether or not that has manifested over the course of your career.
Right. Well, I always knew I wanted to be in something that was creative. I think, much to my parents' chagrin, I would paint on their walls and always be dancing, have them, being my audience for puppet shows and stuff like that. So I always knew that I would want to do something creative. I also used to design my dolly's clothes and cut their hair also. Again, much to my parents' chagrin, like I buy you this nice dolly and you think,
Yeah,
it looks
yeah.
better with this hairstyle. Absolutely. So they let me be me growing up because, a lot of parents would be quite peeved with
Oh,
their
yes.
children,
Stress out.
But it kind of allowed me within certain, limits to do my thing. I remember my dad's recliner. I decided I wanted to decorate it in a certain way, and I felt pulling out the sponge would be a fantastic
I
idea.
see that. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah. And I thought, wow, how artistic. You guys don't see it. They
Not
let me
quite.
be. They let me be for a little bit and do my thing. So yeah, I definitely always knew I wanted to do something creative. By the time I got to high school, I did say to my parents, my mom particularly, I think I want to be a designer. And parents, Jamaican, Caribbean parents,
Yes.
especially, are like,
Doctor, lawyer, engineer,
yeah, yeah,
banker.
yeah. Beg you do get that paper for me now, because she also had dreams of doing that, and her parents were like, how about you do something different? So my mom is great at designing and sewing and all of those things too. And trickle down effect. I don't know. When I went to her with the idea, she was like, love the idea, doll, but how about you get that paper? Yeah.
Okay.
And so, since I was always good at English and storytelling and stuff like that,
Mm.
got into journalism. And that's also something
Oh,
that I definitely was always passionate about too. Like my dad and I, we really used to fight for that Sunday Gleaner because I wanted the Outlook to, yeah,
really?
yeah.
Well,
Back
God
in
bless the
the day.
children that read.
And it
Not
got to
always the case.
I know. And it got to a certain point where he was like, you know what? Let me just give her it first. She'll be done with it soon, and then I can get it to do my crosswords and stuff like that. So yeah, journalism was where I went to next. Went to school in New York, St. John's University.
Oh,
And then after graduation, came right back here and was on a television show called Junior Schools Challenge Quiz. That was fun. I
oh.
really, really loved those children. And seeing the now 20 something year olds now, who are like, hey,
Wow.
we look the same age. It's a good thing.
Oh, wow.
But yeah,
Wow.
seeing them now, I really, really loved the kids on that show. And I also was at the Observer on the lifestyle desk for a bit. And then from there, I moved to Cayman, worked at Cayman Net News, and then the Cayman Compass, also lifestyle and entertainment. Came back to Jamaica for a little bit, and then moved back to New York, where I got into fashion merchandising. Again, fashion, creative, and it was online fashion merchandising. Yeah.
Okay.
So a lot of technology, which you would be familiar with. Yes,
Yes, my world.
yes. And I was there for about 8 years. And then my dad,
Really? It was that long?
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
around
wow.
maybe seven. But yeah, I was
Even
there for
so,
quite
that's
some
still,
time
that's a
back in New
minute.
York.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then my dad, unfortunately, got sick. I'd moved to
Mm.
Florida. He got sick. And within a year, he passed. And then I ended up moving back here to Jamaica.
Wow.
And in moving back to Jamaica, that was a whole, because I never thought I would be moving back to Jamaica while Jamaica is a lovely place to be. It was not in my plan.
Yeah, I
It
was
was
about to
not in my
say, I
plan.
was about to say, I mean, like, I think even me being here, because I've been here now 8 years. I've been back to Jamaica eight
Mhm,
years. And
mhm.
it's interesting. I feel like I didn't realize I'd be here this long,
Right.
you know. Um, and I think it's a great place to be, as you said.
For sure.
And I didn't think I was gonna be here this long.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly. But here I am. So yeah, and I started a company called Day. Now, Day, I had a little bit of a different idea for Day. Day was actually supposed to be sunglasses before I moved back to Jamaica. But in moving back, I saw where there was an opening for sandals, a different type
Yes.
of sandal slides
Yes, yes.
specifically.
And
And
I have on my favorite pair here. I just gotta say, I have worn these bad boys like nobody's business. Okay.
that's our top seller, the
Yes.
Lady M. Yeah, and goat skin. That's the one that people like. So yeah, and I kind of just I saw a need, and I was like, this is something that I would like and wear. And so we use a lot of recycled and repurposed materials to make our sandals. And yeah, that's how we were doing it. And then it's funny. I said to one of my mentors, I was like, I'm thinking about getting back into writing. And some way, somehow, that manifested. And I am now back in writing. I am at the Jamaica Gleaner. I'm their deputy online and lifestyle editor. Yeah. And that mentor, by the way, would have been you. Because, yeah, remember when I just said to you, I was like, I
Yeah,
think I want to
girly.
get back into writing. And you were
Yeah,
like, work
man.
towards it, write
Yeah,
it down.
yeah.
Here we are.
That's
Here
just
we
fun.
are.
Like amazing, fabulous. And you know what? I'm listening to your story and I feel like I was living vicariously through you and through your life. And it's because I really always felt I was a creative in so many respects. I mean, now it's actually come full circle with the cards and the journal and,
Yes.
all the different
The
types of ways I'm
cards.
the cards.
Remember the
Yeah. But there I went through my own phases. I thought at one point I was going to be a dancer. I definitely thought I was going to be an author The
Yeah.
writing thing was a big deal. And, there were a lot of ways that I actually exhibited my creative side. But the distinction is you really immersed yourself in it and challenged yourself, even as a young person, like, yeah, I'm going to do this. Like, I mean, it just seemed so fun. And then you're doing all this really cool stuff. Like, how many women dream or young girls dream of flying to New York, whether they live in the Caribbean or in the States or wherever? New York is just this beacon of trendy and fashion and the lifestyle, and you're really bossing it. That's the city of lights kind of thing. So I think I had those kind of dreams as well, because of course that's where I initially migrated to. But my migration took me down a different path, because I started going to work with daddy, and daddy was in tech,
Yeah.
right? But listening to your story, it just sounds so fabulous, notwithstanding all of the work that you had to do.
Right. It has definitely been a lot of work, but I've always kind of had the mindset, let me give this a shot. Let me
Yeah.
try. If it doesn't work, there's something else that's going to pan out. I'll
Yeah.
figure it out. That's always been my mindset. So yeah, even with moving back to New York, it was a situation where my green card came through, and I was like, "Huh, I just moved back to Jamaica. Feel pretty settled, but this is an opportunity, and I never want to think to myself, what if?"
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You
So I
always
ran
want
with it.
to take it. Yeah, no, I that was what happened when I moved to Canada for the 3 years. And while I wouldn't regret it, and I don't have any regrets about doing the move, it's not a place I would want to live. I just can't manage the weather at all. I just can't take it, can't manage it.
Me either, girl. No shade to Canada, but it's not for me.
Can't manage it at all. Right.
Yeah.
Lovely place, lovely people. So your journey has been exciting. You've traveled. I'm sure that working in journalism has actually seen you traveling quite a bit. Did you have any experiences in just the confidence region, like interacting with different kinds of people, in that world can be quite unforgiving, I've heard
Oh
from very
yeah.
good sources. So what was that like, overcoming those kinds of experiences where maybe you didn't feel as assertive or as confident in the initial instance?
Right. I think it still happens. You know what I mean? It's not
Really?
yeah. It's not a destination at all. Sometimes I have to have a conversation with me like, Debs, get it together, you know. But a lot better than it was in the past. I think I was a lot more anxious back then, especially television and being on camera. But I don't know. I think with age, you just become a lot more comfortable in your own skin and who you are as an individual. That things that used to plague you before plague you a lot less. Let me put it that way. But again, it's not a destination. I still have my moments where I need a pep talk from a friend. I need to talk to a mentor, like, here's what is going on with me right now, you know?
Mhm.
And then ultimately, though, the truth of the matter is I always push through. Always.
Yeah, the only way to it is through it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
And
totally get that.
I realized a lot of the stuff that I made up in my head after going through it. It was all made
Yes.
up. Yeah.
Let me tell you, man, the stories that we can create
Yeah.
are very powerful,
Yes.
convincing, even for sure, sure.
Very. Yeah.
But that's helpful. And even underscoring the point of, you still have those moments, because
Oh
I
yeah.
think there is the belief in many of the young persons that are coming up behind us that you reach, or
Right.
you just get to a point, but there's always another level, right? There's always a wiser and better version of yourself that requires you to step into some of that discomfort,
Hmm.
right?
All the time.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Now, is there a project that you're currently working on that you can share that's like has you really excited, that you are looking forward to launching? Anything like that?
I have quite a few in the pipeline. Yeah, I think because we've been in this pandemic for 2 years and kind of quiet, I do have quite a few things in the pipeline. Certainly, from a gleaner perspective, we'd like to be around more people. While we do love virtual, we'd like to interact with people more. So there's stuff coming there. I also would like to add some products today. Yeah.
I was going to
So
ask you
look
about
out for
day, you know,
that. Yeah.
whether it's transitioning away, or is it really just you're having renewed passion for it being in this space of lifestyle on a consistent basis?
I must tell you, my current job does take me away a little bit from day, but I'm working on balance. That's what we're
Yeah.
talking about here. I am working on balance and trying to ensure that it will have a legacy. So I'm taking my time and planning for that. Yeah.
Do you feel your boardroom legacy lies within your entrepreneurial side?
No, not just
Mm,
because certain articles that I write and people that I interact with also is an important part of that. I believe definitely in leading with kindness, but
mm.
also planting a seed for people to also be like, I can handle this a little bit differently. I could do this a different way. Be a little kinder, nicer as I go along and empathetic. Yeah. So
And I'm so
that's
glad you brought that up.
important to
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
No, that's good. I actually, when I downloaded, because my intention cards came in bits at a time,
Mhm.
and when I downloaded the intention, I am kind as an intention.
Mhm.
And I remember coming out of meditation, and I had a little gold book that I used to write them down in. And I wrote down, I am kind. And I was like, it's kind of basic. So like, why I am kind?
Uh,
And then when I went looking for the definition of kindness, and I thought to myself, this is not something that people remember.
uh,
So the fact that you actually have that as a, you don't hear it often. I don't often hear people saying that I encourage people to be kind to others, or I try to be kind. I don't hear people saying that often. It's actually quite unique in terms of being a value. So I applaud you for that. I find that it's one of the ones that's less focused on, which is so essential.
Thank you. Thank you. And I think it's really important. No, listen, I'm not saying be a carpet. I'm not
Right.
saying let people walk over you. I'm not about that. I don't even have that temperament. But for sure, I'm going to always lead with kindness. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, as we wrap up the boardroom section of questions, I did want to ask you if you had any kind of cheat sheet for something that I really admire that you did during it was prior to pandemic, but you also had a couple of them during the pandemic as well, which was interesting for me to observe. But you do pop-ups
Yeah.
in the day world.
Yes.
Do you have a cheat sheet for easy pop-ups for persons who are in the creative space and want to be able to sell their products to a captive audience and make some bank in short sprints?
Wow. I need to have a cheat sheet. I don't necessarily. I can't tell you I have a cheat sheet, but I would tell you this. I do have like a checklist of what I need to have for said pop up. Yeah. So
Okay.
I know
Okay.
I have my little box, I have my machine, I have my stock list. So those things I do have. Ultimately, though, I find being myself and just being engaging works the
Yeah.
best with pop up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my
Excellent.
advice is always just be yourself. Yeah.
It's easier said than done, I will say. It's one of
Yeah.
those learned things.
Yeah.
Okay,
True.
excellent, excellent. Now, the bedroom segment is always the part that everybody thinks is most exciting,
Mm-hmm.
although I find that we have gems all over. And typically, my lady bosses fall into several different categories when it comes to bedroom. And this is, of course, talking about intimate love, although bedroom does cover children, but you don't have any children yet.
Don't.
No, not yet.
Not
And
yet.
not yet. And it also covers family, which I am going to touch on because I know that you had a really great relationship with your dad. But we want to start off first with the intimate relationship space and wanted to kind of check in on your mover and a shaker and that temperament, when you have that kind of energy of being just, on top of your game and really exhibiting a lot of lady boss tendencies, globe trotter, big city winner, that kind of look and feel, and you ooze quite a bit of confidence. You're quite beautiful. And so
Yeah.
it's like, yes, I know I'm myself, I'm about my business. How has that temperament, that energy, how has that impacted your dating life?
I think it's impacted it quite a bit. You are looking at a single lady. And so we want, so that's something I want to balance a bit more because,
Okay.
yeah, this life is meant to be shared, eh?
Yes, it
So
is. It's
I
nicer that way.
definitely want to work on that because yes, I am a mover and a shaker. I've lived in so many different places all over the world. But I think it is time to find somebody special to spend this life with. Yeah. So I'm working on
Nice.
that. Where are you,
Nice.
sir? Where are you? But yes.
So would you say that is it where it's meeting people, or is it just really because your career has been such a priority? Because I think that one of the things that I've heard from young women who tune in, they either want to be married right now, they're maybe in their early 20s, if they're in their 30s, they want to have children. It's just all these different, I think sometimes aligned with what's expected at a particular age, etc.
Right.
But they also want that career goal, which is a little different from me, even though I'm quote unquote borderline millennial. I'll still claim it, even though I passed almost 5 years old. But anyway, during my time, it was all about the get married, make a family, and have a career. But it was really very heavy on the married with children. There was still quite a bit of that. Now I find that there's quite a bit of career. There's a lot of career. Even if there's marriage in play and children in play, there's a lot more focus on the drive and the goal setting,
Yeah.
So what do you think it was for you, or has
Career.
been for you? Career.
Definitely career,
Mhm.
which in retrospect, I do wonder if that has a lot to do with my singledom at the moment.
Mhm.
But yeah, it definitely, I was focused on career quite a bit um,
Mhm.
throughout the years. And also, I just didn't find the right person at the time. So my hope is he's out there. Yeah.
Oh, he is.
Also, yeah, he is
Mhm.
out there. Also, I'm so happy with myself now.
Oh, that's good.
I'm going to be the best soulmate now more than ever. Because, of
Yeah.
course, I've been in relationships,
Mhm.
but I'm not who I am now. And I actually like this version. So, yeah, whoever he is, you in for a treat, sir. Yeah.
I love that. I'm going to make that a clip.
Yeah.
Whoever you are, you're in for a treat. Nice. I really like that, Deb, and I think it's something that deserves to be underscored
Yeah.
because it's really important for us to be in love with ourselves and to be happy with where we are. I feel that that's when I was really able to start attracting the type of attention I wanted. It was when I was ready to let go of just all of the crosses, both in my own mindset and then the ones that were in my space. I was willing to
Yes.
let go of it versus just having a person and
Yes.
really step into figuring out who I wanted to become. What is this amazing woman? I knew I was amazing, but I don't think I really got it. And
Right.
I don't think I necessarily really liked myself so much. When you're in touch with yourself to the point where you can say, oh, I like me,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah.
Yeah, because
So that was
honestly,
great.
I'd be out in the if I was a guy, I'd be out in the rain like, "Hey, Deborah, talk to me," because I like me.
No,
Yeah.
that's good. That's good. And I can actually feel your ease and exuberance with it, which I think is where we talk about law of attraction. That's what it's all about, right? Is when you're in that space of
Yeah.
ease that you're able to attract kind of the personas that you want in your life.
But believe me, it's taken a while to get here.
Mm.
Yeah, it's taken a while to get here.
And does any of that, you getting there, have to do with maybe the bar that your dad had set for the relate? Because you guys were close. It occurs to me that you had a close relationship with your dad.
Definitely when somebody you care about passes, it gives you the ability to think about a lot of things.
Yeah.
Which is why in his passing, I knew family is one of the most important things there ever will be. So I think his passing definitely made me think to myself, I don't want to go this all alone. You need people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
You
need
need
people.
people, your person, your
Yes,
person.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
That's so good. Okay. Now you exude happiness. And I will say that I've experienced a shift into a higher self, Deborah,
Hmm.
during the years that I've known you.
Hmm.
From a very focused, career-driven person, still very lovely and nice,
Hmm.
but now I can you ooze this energy of I'm about myself, I'm spiritually connected, I'm grounded. Like I really feel that joy almost. Yeah.
I've done a lot of growing with you in these past 2 years. It's probably almost 2 years to the day, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
yes, yes, yes.
almost.
This is
Yeah,
true.
yeah. And I've
This is
done
true.
a lot of growing during this pandemic. And I was thinking before doing this, I was like, Stacey, I wonder if she knows how essential of a role she played.
Oh
Because,
no.
yeah, man. Yeah. Because enough people popped down during the pandemic, but I had
Mm.
somebody who kept me focused with a lot of things. And I am really, really appreciative for that. And yeah, you've played a part in my growth. I don't think
Oh.
I necessarily was at this level of ease and comfortable 2 years ago. I
Oh,
had just
bless you.
started getting accolades for day. I believe
Mhm.
it was the distinguished
Yes.
with the Gleaner, and the irony is now that I am at the Gleaner. But yeah, I got that for day back in 2020. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was for 2019. But yeah, back in 2020. And yes, I remember meeting you. I almost choked up. By the way, I almost choked on my water that day,
You
when we
lie.
were, yeah, nerves, nerves, duck on water syndrome. See me here, but see me put them here. Yeah,
Oh, that's so humbling, Deb.
yeah. So I've done a lot of growing in the 2 years, and I'm happy for it. And I'm sure 2 years from now, it's only gonna get better. And
Oh,
I'm looking
yes.
forward to it.
Oh, yes. It only gets better. I will say to you though, because this month coming up in March, for my platforms, I'm going to be focusing on celebrating women. And a part of
Yes.
that conversation is going to be about aging,
Yeah.
because I am stepping into my next womanhood in a few years. And it's kind of like when you have a baby and people don't tell you stuff,
Hmm.
right? That's what's happening. I'm stepping into I'm in my mid 40s and people don't tell you stuff. There's stuff just happening. And but I keep hearing that yes, stuff happens, but it gets so much better. That kind of fits the back. So I
Mhm.
can guarantee for you that it does get better and you feel a lot freer and you're a lot more expressive and it's just more, right? More and better. So welcome when you arrive on this side.
I'm looking forward to it, and I'll be lucky because the truth is also a lot of my counterparts haven't made it to this stage, you
Yeah,
know? So I'm always
indeed.
grateful. Yeah. Always
Indeed.
grateful for the next stage I get to make it to. Yeah.
Now, something that I would definitely want to know is that the glow that you have, is it all natural or do you have just like this skincare routine that is killer? Because let me tell you something, girl, like your skin
Yeah.
is just fabulous.
Oh, thank you so much. In truth, Dr. Althea Bambury, when I moved back to Jamaica, because due to stress on a lot of things, I used to
Mhm.
have, and I'm okay with talking about it, the worst and deepest acne ever. And
Really?
oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. And a lot of it was accredited to stress. Yeah.
Oh,
And changing
okay.
climate and all of those
Mm-hmm.
things also.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
she just worked her magic.
Thought
She,
out.
yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So Dr. Althea Bambury of Skin Solutions. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Big up, Dr. Banbury. Okay. All right.
Yeah. And I
Excellent.
mean, I try to drink my water as much as
Yes.
possible. But thank you for the compliment. I really, really appreciate that. Yeah.
No,
Drink your water,
absolutely.
man.
Yeah, I need to do that better. I mean, I used to be chairperson for a water company and I am still working. They got me drinking more than I was before. I'll tell you
Yeah.
that, but I'm still working on it. And I admire people like you and my partner that just drink water like constantly. It's crazy. Now we're talking about bliss
Yeah.
and I wanted to know that as somebody who is now stepping into more work and um, entrepreneurship is still a part of your everyday, is there a self-care practice or routine that really supports you in managing overwhelm and stress and burnout?
Yes, for sure. Well, also telling my bosses I'm not interested in burning out, so they know that about me.
Let me
They
just
know
tell
that.
you, I'm not
They
interested
know.
in the burnout.
They
I love
know
it.
that about me and definitely have been gracious in not wanting me to burn out also. But yeah, I love a Sunday, see? I love a
Oh,
Sunday for me. And it's wash hair day, you know what I mean? I use my I'm not sure of the pronunciation, Geishwa, you know what I'm talking about with the
yes,
stone.
yes,
Yeah, do a
yes.
little skincare, sometimes cut some aloe vera and
Oh,
make something, a mask. I can use it for my hair also. Yeah, Sundays I find are
yeah.
very, very peaceful for me. And I use that day to just regroup. Yeah, and set
Therapeutic. It's
myself
like
up for,
it's like having the Sabbath. I was actually
yes,
talking about that recently with a friend of mine. She pulled me out of my house because I had been in that incessant work period
right.
that started like right after Christmas, where literally I was working every day, including
Yeah,
Sundays. And she pulled me to my house. She's like, "No, my girl, like, what's going on?" And we went out in nature and we were walking around, and it's pretty much similar for her. Sundays are her
yeah,
self-care, self-love day. And I thought about the Sabbath, and I was like, I wonder if this is what's really the meaning. It's just
yeah,
really about that self-care time,
yes,
that connecting with self and really serving yourself with self-therapy, self-love,
right.
self-care, you know?
Also, I believe in meditation. I am a girl
Mm.
who believes in meditation. I haven't done as much this year as I should be doing,
Mhm,
but
mhm.
definitely the last quarter of last year, every morning at 7,
Oh,
meditating. Yeah.
yeah.
Also, I must tell you, my cards help. It is part of
Yes,
my practice. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It
yes.
definitely is part of my practice also. So little things that I do for myself. Even sometimes if it's 5 minutes, I'm like, Debra, you're human. Do something for yourself right now. Yeah.
Take that five
Don't have to
minutes
be,
and
yeah,
just
don't have to be
sit.
nothing big.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can just be quiet with yourself, you know? That's excellent. And
exactly.
it can
So
also be
something.
any time in the day. It can be any time in the
Yes,
day. I remember
exactly.
listening to Oprah talk about just her self-care routines. And I thought she was going to be a traditional morning, da, 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 but she actually starts her mornings very early. And as you can imagine, has, a plethora of things that
Right.
she does. And so she has a time stamp of 4 p.m. where it's just her time. Everybody knows it.
Hmm.
She steps away, she makes a cup of chai,
Yeah.
and that's her, whether it's 30 minutes or whatever, and it is her reset, her connect, her,
Right.
and then she also has her Sundays, her Sunday
Exactly.
practice.
That's true. That's true. And I said,
Yeah.
do anything that works for you. Another thing is exercise. While boy, sometimes it can be like hard to roll out of the bed, but I've never done it and be like, after I'm done, been like, hated it.
Yeah.
In the
Yeah.
midst of it, yes.
Yes. Yes.
Before, sure. After,
Yes.
I feel accomplished, and it does something for
Yeah,
mental
man, the
health also.
endorphins are
Yeah.
great. The endorphins are great. So
Yeah.
I've always been a slow exerciser. I'm slow for people that don't think yoga is real exercise. Uh, but I've been doing yoga since 1992. And
Uh,
so it has always had a special place in my heart.
mhm.
And it's the one thing that has come with me no matter where I've lived. I've always maintained my yoga practice.
Right.
However, since moving here, I've attempted to do the gym a couple of times. And that has been interesting. I don't usually last beyond the first trip off the island. So I'll be in a groove and then I have to travel. And it's like, I'm not going to the gym when I'm traveling. I'm just not that person.
Right.
However, that has shifted quite a bit now. I find that I'm stepping into the traveling a little bit with doing some working out because my partner has a trainer that does all the training online. He pivoted during COVID. And so I started working out with him just recently in November, which was just a few months ago, and I really hated it, and I really love it, and I get what people say, the feeling that you get after the endorphins are
Yeah.
like amazing,
Yeah.
you know. So I'm like, how can I feel that without the exercise part? And not sex necessarily. Like,
Right.
how do I
Right.
just how do we bottle that and spray it on, like, a perfume or something? So I totally get that. Okay, now we are actually at the end of our time. We've been chatting for
That's quick.
we've been chatting for about 40 minutes now. And you I like to wrap up with asking if there is any one thing that you would like to share with our community that is your go-to when you are really needing that extra push. It can be either a quote or a fable, a story, a saying, just anything at all. Maybe it's a few. Sometimes I have guests that have like a whole mantra. But is there anything that you'd want to share that would be that main gem that you can always go to feel that extra, okay, I can do this?
Well, what is coming to me is pushing through with prayer.
Mm,
I would consider myself a lot more spiritual than religious, but I believe in just sitting down and connecting and being like, God, here I am, I
mhm,
surrender.
mm. That surrender word, boy. Ooh,
Yeah.
mm,
Because
hits me.
some higher power is in charge. Yeah.
That's for sure. I know I'm
Yeah.
not very clear about that.
Exactly. Exactly. But yeah, I don't know why that came to me when you just said that. And yeah, sometimes I just, take a moment and just pray. Yeah. That's
Push
big for
through
me.
with prayer. That's
Mhm.
really good. Excellent. Okay, now can you tell persons where to find Debra?
Ah, well, you can find Day One at daycollection.com, which is also on Instagram at DAE dot collection. You can find Deborah Edwards on IG. I am Deborah, Debra dot A dot Edwards. And you can also find me at The Gleaner. Yeah. I don't know if I should give out my email address, but
Oh,
I
probably
can
not.
be but I can be found there too. I can be found there too. So I can be found at a few places. And one of the things in getting back into this, I wanted to ensure that I'm open to people. It's not everybody going to get through, but I'm open to people. I'm not trying to be a gatekeeper. And I want to
Mm.
hear your stories. Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you so much for joining, Deb, and for sharing your story, your amazing career path. I feel that there is just so much that is ahead of you. And I really, really am excited about all the magic that you're going to create in your boardroom, bedroom, and bliss space. And I'm also very grateful to you for being a part of my mentor circle. I take that space very seriously. And I'm happy that I was able to share that space with you because it helps me a lot too. You know, I learn and I grow quite a bit from mentoring. So I was very blessed to have you as a mentee.
Uh, Thank you so much for having me. I mean, this is different because I'm normally asking questions and stuff, but I feel so comfortable. And again, you are appreciated more than you even understand. And one day, I hope I can let you understand even more.
Absolutely, Deb. You've done more than enough already. Thanks so much for joining us. And Balanced Lady Bosses, just stay tuned for much more on the Balanced Lady Boss Show. Take care, everybody.